Hey everyone, JCS StarCraft here, bringing you Game 2 of the finals between Naama and Mana for the Go4SC2 number 35 Weekly Cup action getting started here on Lost Temple. Naama going to be spawning as the blue Terran in the 9 o'clock position, and Mana going to be spawning as the red Protoss in the 3 o'clock position. So they are in the cross positions right now. Should make for an interesting game at this point. Mana is currently up 1-0, had a really good, just pretty standard opening, pretty standard one-base push, 3-gate robo from him in the first game. Caught Naama a little bit off guard. I don't think Naama was anticipating that the 3-gate robo push, was trying to establish the mid game and go for kind of an earlier expansion, and unfortunately just didn't have enough units out on the field, didn't have his bunkers ready in time to react, and so lost game 1 because of that. And right now both players looks like a pretty standard opening as well. I'm going to pay a little bit more attention to this time. I have been noticing that Naama has been going with a 16 orbital command, a little bit different. Most standard Terran goes for that 15 orbital commands like baked into their openings. But I really started noticing that in the quarterfinals, when Naama was going up against Tarson and their builds differ just slightly, Naama always seemed to be a little bit behind and eking out that early economic advantage and trying to get that extra SCV in there. So having a +1 SCV the entire time and then trying to really cement that against his opponent by attacking the supply line and pulling ahead economically. So it looks like 12 and 13, so pretty standard right now. The big question is he going to pump out that extra SCV before the orbital comes out, or is he not? It has seemed to work in his favor so far. And, Terran definitely needs to keep that economic advantage up and going. SCVs, Terran has the biggest problem, I think, defending against any sort of harass on the supply line, because they cannot pump out SCVs any faster than how they normally pump it out. And yes, it looks like it is going to be 16 yet again before the orbital goes down. So I think it's been working out for him. An interesting strategy from, very interesting subtle change in the early play, but could definitely work out ahead. And this probe is just being really annoying, trying to take some minerals away before it runs out. Marine is out right now, and Mana just desperately trying to run this this probe around, sorry about that, and before getting his shields to recharge just a little bit longer, staying in and trying to scout as long as possible. Meanwhile, back at the base, looks like he is going to be chrono boosting the Zealot and applying some early pressure on his opponent. Naama has not choked off at this point, so that Zealot will be able to run in, and Naama's going to have to micro these Marines decently to try to avoid that, but is throwing down the bunker right at the edge of the cliff right now. Interesting bunker placement, as normally most Terran players throw it down a little bit further out to block off, but might be using, looks like, yeah, he is going to be using a factory to choke off right now. And so this Zealot's not going to be able to do very much at all. Mana does see it come out as well, so should be very well prepped for it. The Cybernetics core is already going down for Mana, and looking at the Harvester count, Mana slightly ahead because he can chrono boost at this point, but Naama is able to hold off decently well. Flying that barracks over, will it get down in time? It should land before the Zealot has a chance to run up. The Zealot's going to have a lot of problems running up that ramp anyways, as it's going to absorb massive amounts of fire. And Naama even running his Marines out a little bit to chase it down. Now they have to retreat because he is able to take out one of the Zealots, and Mana's going to have to retreat at this point. So looks like the reactor is going down for the racks, and he might be switching that up with the factory to pump out Hellions, or he might not in the last game. I think he's going to go with the tank Marine push against his Protoss opponent. And Naama deciding temporarily against the starport, or building it. No, he's going to go for a faster expansion right now. Not sure what made him think to do that, but might be feeling that he has some sort of not as much pressure on the map. Looks like he did throw down a scan and saw that his opponent pretty much going the same build as last time for Mana, probably going to go with the 3-gate robo yet again, but Naama still wants to gain that economic advantage against his opponent. And right now, finally, the tank is coming down. This a very costly piece of property for Naama to build, obviously, but going to be opting for it this game. And it is a larger map. He is a little bit more well situated right now to hold off against an early rush versus Kulas Ravine, where he did salvage that bunker, which he is going to do again. Needs every last ounce of money he can, but I think just going to be pushing that out ahead right now, right here. A great position for the bunker, and once that tank does come out, looking to just have Siege will finish a little bit earlier. he probably won't be caught quite as off guard. And so right now it looks like Mana just kind of scouting things out a little bit. He will be taking the spam going down. Looks like some sort of lag going on there as well. Is going to be taking his expansion as well. Not going to be trying to go for that one base push again. And right now only has, it looks like, oh no, he has tucked them away. Warp is being researched at the moment. But going to be a lot harder to do that 1-gate push on Lost Temple because of the advantage of the cliffs that Naama will have with that tank. And just going to be that much harder to shoot down. Although that Observer is coming in, so he will gain some sort of sight on his opponent and, you know, can fire away. But just that much harder to push in on this map. And looks like Naama finally getting down his starport and the tech lab onto it. So kind of a late Banshees because he took that expansion, but still going to try to pressure that supply line as much as he possibly can. Mana going to be running in here freely just to look at everything going on. And Naama really at this point might be pumping out, might be a Banshee or might be a Raven at this point if he can't get that early pressure on, because he really doesn't like scouting. And look at that, Naama doing a great job. He's one of the few players I've seen who actually is very active about scanning the horizon for that for the Observer and striking it down with the scan rather than relying on an engineering bay or Ravens to come out earlier. So it really denies the scouting for his opponent, and you know that definitely helps out in the long run, as that prevents your opponent from seeing what build your army is making out. So it looks like a Robo Bay is going down for Mana at this point, going to be going with the Colossi, and just trying to establish and hold out, and really kind of is both players establishing their mid game at this point. Unit count decently low for this part of the game, but you know both players felt each other out, sensed that they were both expanding, so it's pretty safe. Not going to have any 1-gate switch. Another Observer is coming in for Mana. Mana's not going to give up right here. And it does look like the Banshee is going to be the unit of choice right now for Naama. Mana now coming in yet again. And I think Naama's kind of pays attention to these, you know, the air distortion field going on around there and tries to set it up. Looks like Mana will be seeing that Banshee come out, so should be decently well prepared for it. Cloak is being researched by Naama at the moment. He has sensed that his opponent does have an expansion. Now what Naama likes to do and has done very well in previous games that I've seen is keep the pressure going with the Banshees and really try to split the forces to defend across both. I think Mana might be served better right now. I think he will be able to hold it off, but might be served better if he threw down a cannon or two if that harassment continues from Naama, and Naama waiting for that second Banshee to come out and waiting for the Cloak to finish as well. From there, I'm not sure if he's going to get out of Raven. I know he really hates those Observers in his base, but just trying to hold the ground in the front. And Thermal Lance being researched. Colossus is going to be coming out right now for Mana, and already has a few units out on the field. Looking at the army tab, right now Mana is pulling ahead in the army count, 84 over 69, and as well as Harvesters just slightly, ever so slightly ahead. And anything else going on right now, it looks like the Banshees are going to be streaming out across the map. Mana wants to pay very close attention to that. Will have the ability to detect the Cloak going down, and does know that it's coming, so is now already situated up onto the cliffs and ready to fire away at them. So Naama's going to be in for a little